Hi, this is Matt from Ozuno, and this video will be about how to program DALI scenes. For this video, we'll be using the RAPIX Addressing software and one of our USB to DALI interfaces, also referred to as a DALI Red Box. As with our other videos, I'm going to use the term DALI device rather than DALI light, because while most things that you will need to program DALI scenes for may be lights, this information also works for DALI relays and phase dimmers, or any other DALI standard device. To get started, you will need to connect the red box to the DALI line and scan the line. For a guide on how to do that, please check out a video on scanning a DALI line. It's best if the DALI line is also properly addressed prior to configuring scenes. If you are unsure on how to address a DALI line, we also have a video on that. If you're not familiar with what a DALI scene is, it's probably easiest to explain it with an example. Whereas a DALI group is used to issue the same command to multiple DALI devices at the same time, like turn them on or off or dim them up and down, a DALI scene is similar in that it's designed to command multiple DALI devices, but rather than setting them all the same command, it instead tells them all to go to a predetermined setting chosen for that scene. We often see this in meeting rooms. This meeting room has a projector and a screen set against the top wall, and we want to create a DALI scene to set the lighting for when the projector is in use. For this projector scene, we want the lights closest to the projector screen to turn off so they don't throw additional light across the screen. The lights around the edge of the room, we'll drop them to a low level, so people can still see to move around the room if they need, but it's not so bright that it distracts from what's being projected. And the lights over the table will be a little brighter so people can read or take notes while the projector is being used. Like groups, there are 16 DALI scenes available for every DALI line, and the DALI devices can be a member of as few or as many DALI scenes as required. So we could have a second scene for this meeting room, a general meeting scene. In this scene, the lights around the edge of the room go to half output, while the lights over the meeting table go to full. When the DALI scene command is sent down the line, if a device is in the scene, it knows based on the scene number what output level it needs to go to. So when we program a DALI scene, what we're actually doing is configuring the DALI device so they know what they need to do when a scene command is sent. Okay, let's configure a DALI scene. First, we've got to go up the top here to the Scenes tab, which will take us to the Scenes programming window. All of our DALI devices are listed down the side here, and the 16 DALI scenes are listed across the top, numbered 0 to 15. If we want to create scene 1 from our example, first we need to know which DALI short addresses correspond to which fittings. This line has already been addressed, and here are the short addresses of the fittings. So short address 1 and 2 are the lights directly in front of the screen. We want those lights off during the scene, so if we click here on the grey dot that corresponds between the DALI device at short address 1 and the DALI scene 1, and this slider will appear, and we can set the slider to the level required for the scene. So in this case, we want 0% or off. So we've set the first two devices the same way, and then the devices at short address 3 and 4, we'll set them to 20% output. And the devices at 5, 6, and 7, we're going to set to 30%. As we set these scene levels, they will be programmed almost instantaneously into the devices thanks to the Keep in Sync button up the top here. While it's selected, all changes made are updated immediately. Over on the right, we can give our scenes a reference name. When you're doing a lot of DALI programming, it can be easy to forget what each scene has been created for, so we can give this scene a name like Projector Scene. I will note that these names are only saved on the RAPIX Addressing software. They aren't saved directly into the DALI devices. With the scene now configured, we can test it. If we go down to this drop-down box at the bottom of the software here, we can select the scene we want to test. When we name a scene like we just did, it will have automatically switched over to the scene we named. Now when we hit the single white light bulb, it will trigger the selected DALI scene rather than turning on the selected device. You might, however, notice that the single black glow button has no effect when a DALI scene is selected. That's because there's no standard command for a DALI scene off. All a scene can be commanded to do is go. If you wanted to turn all the lights in a scene back off after you'd set them to the scene levels, you would either need to make a second off scene to trigger, or alternatively you could turn them off using a group command or a broadcast or something else like that. One other thing I want to talk about quickly is how to remove a device from a DALI scene. When we want to remove a device from a scene, we click on it just like we were adding it to the scene, but instead of moving the slider, what we want to do is we want to go to this mask checkbox here. When a device is masked from a scene, it means it's no longer a member of that scene, and it will not respond to commands issued to that scene. It's a common mistake for people new to DALI programming to attempt to remove a device from a scene by setting the slider down to 0%. But 0% doesn't mean that the device isn't in the scene, it means the device will turn off when the scene is triggered. Further to this, for DALI color devices like tunable white luminaires or full RGB plus luminaires, known as DALI Type 8 devices or DT8 for short, in these type of devices, the light output of the device and the color output of the device are independent of each other in scenes. So taking a look at a tunable white device here, you can see that we have a light level slider on the top and a color temperature slider on the bottom, both with independent mask options. So to completely remove this fitting from the DALI scene, you need to ensure that both settings are masked. This also means for DALI Type 8 devices, you can create DALI scenes where only the light level is changed or only the color output is changed in a scene. So a DALI scene could be created to shift a device from a warm color like 3K to a cooler color like 5K without changing the device's current light output. For RGB plus DT8 devices, there is still the light output level slider, but each color output available also has its own slider. So to remove a device like this from a scene, you must ensure that all mask boxes are checked. To add a device to multiple DALI scenes, all we need to do is add the device and set the levels for each scene as required. Lastly, if you are scanning an existing DALI line and the DALI devices are already members of DALI scenes, that information will be displayed here on the Scenes tab. You can see that the Scenes tab not only shows you what DALI scenes a device is in, but it also gives you an overview of what the DALI device will do when that relevant scene is triggered. Okay, that concludes our tutorial on DALI scenes. I hope this information was helpful. If you have any further questions, please contact us at support@ozuno.com. Thank you.